I wanted to share this solution with the Shopify community to show people how they can potentially import a bunch of orders from a previous website for free. I wasn't really very impressed with a lot of the plugins that I've seen. I don't understand why Shopify don't do this themselves, because it's really annoying when you want to migrate to the Shopify platform and you've got a bunch of orders in another system and you need to migrate them into this system. And although there are plugins that do it, some of them don't do a very good job. They don't necessarily create orders that are linked to particular products, and you have to pay for them. And I think that that is rubbish. I don't understand why you can't just import some CSV file with a product link. It should be very simple. I have instead created this workaround, which it's not ideal, and it's for the Mac. It doesn't take too long to import, perhaps anywhere between a couple of hundred to 500 orders. If you're doing a lot more than that, this isn't a very good solution. But basically what this does is it utilizes the display of your Mac, and it actually uses the web interface to batch the orders. So when it's using the UI, you can alter this keyboard maestro script to create custom functionality. So this is a really good starting point if you have to add a lot of extra functionality when you're creating your orders and you're trying to batch convert, because some of these plugins don't necessarily give you all the functionality of the Shopify user interface. So this is a way of thinking that allows you to achieve pretty much anything you want. It's just there's a little bit of a learning curve when you're using Keyboard Maestro to do it. So we have a CSV file, which is a spreadsheet, and each spreadsheet, or the spreadsheet that it loads up, each line is an order, and the first column is the first name of the person, the second column is the second name, the last name of the person, and the third column is the email address. And in this case, I am batch creating all orders of the same type, so they're all ordering one product. But basically what happens is that for each line in that CSV file, it's going to run through all of these functions. So it's going to click on a button, or it's going to wait until this button is visible on the order page. So if you look here, you've got this create order button. It's going to click make sure that that's visible. If it's visible, it's going to click on it, and once the next page exists, it's going to bring up a browse screen where the product is typed out. And in this case, I think we might select a tag, and we actually type out the name. We actually select by the image recognition of that product and its icon. So once that's selected, we add to the order, and then it will type out, it will try to create a new customer. It will type out the first name from the first entry in the form, the last name, and the email. It will then try to save the customer, and it will generate the order. If the customer already exists, though, you're going to get an error. And in that instance, it will click cancel. It will find the existing customer, and it will then issue the order. We also add a 100% discount because we're migrating information and we batch it out. And we also edit the subject line and edit the text that goes into the field. So here we'll do a dry run, or we'll do a run on the CSV spreadsheet. So I've assigned this function to Command-Shift-L, and I hit Command-Shift-L to run the loop. It's going to loop through the CSV file. And it's not a very fast process. It takes a couple of minutes per order. But I have had issues when I've tried to do this with scripting. I had issues when I tried to script generation of orders with Sendow. It wasn't fulfilling the Sendow line items, and when I saw that, it was really frustrating because it means that the API that's made to be able to do this sort of stuff is not very well done. Pretty pissed about that, but you know what can you do? So by using something like keyboard maestro, I don't have to rely on how good someone's API is to be able to make my own batching functionality. The only real expense is time, because you have to do a little, you have to put aside a bit more time to be able to get the scripting to work. You also need a bit more time to account for errors, and it obviously takes way more time to actually process an order than it would if we had a functioning API that was able to generate an order and fulfill um, the order properly with third-party plugins like Sendow. Now, I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if it's Sendow's fault, or I don't know if it's Shopify's fault in this instance that that was working. I don't really care though. It shouldn't really be a problem. If you have a script that's generating an order, it should automatically fulfill any line items anyway, including the downloads for some digital product. Uh, anyway, by using the user interface, I get around those issues that were happening with my script. If anyone else has a solution for being able to generate an order through the API and can and doesn't have any issues with third-party plugin compatibility, I'd love to see a solution for that. That would be great to see. So anyway, you can see here that it is working. It's entering the customer information, and here in this instance we're attempting to save the customer, and that customer is a new entry, so now it's going to create a 100% discount. And we're going to also enter in the information. Oh, that's bad. I noticed a little bit of a bug in there. I didn't change the text in the subject line, but that's no big deal. So anyway, I hope that this information helps someone else out who isn't really interested in paying for a third-party product to import old order information.